What's going on, football fans? It's me, J.R. Clark, back again with another rendition of the Pound for Pound. We are rapidly closing in on the NFL Draft, and I encourage y'all to join me Thursday evening. I'm going to do a live stream. It'll probably just be me on the live stream because of technical issues or technical limitations, I guess you could say. But I'm pretty sure Toby will jump in the chat. But I would love for y'all to join me in that live stream, and we can cut up and pontificate and speculate on what the Falcons are going to do. Because right now the rumors are swirling big time about the Falcons being extremely aggressive in the draft and could be making a major move up, and all this could be a full-on smokescreen trying to drive up the market. I mean, who knows, right? But it should make for a very interesting draft. Now, if I'm not mistaken, as of today, me recording this, yesterday as far as when this comes out, the Falcons have started their off-season, their virtual off-season, which is be interesting to see what kind of information comes out on that. Seems like right now it's just a bunch of like cut-up tapes and one-on-one meetings with players and stuff of that nature. But so that's interesting as far as news coming out today. But now, I know that y'all probably noticed here in the last few videos that I've been focusing a lot on the defense because it's been on my mind heavy, because I think that's what's going to, if we're going to turn this team around, it's going to start on the defensive side of the ball. But my main man Toby's been talking a lot about the offense, and listening to his videos and watching his videos and reading y'all's comments and stuff really got me to thinking. It seems like our Achilles heel, or limitations, however you want to call it, going into the 2020 season rests squarely on Dirk Koetter. Now, something we've been saying all off season, and I don't see any of it changing. So that got me to thinking. I wondered what made 2012 different, right? 2012, we went to the NFC Championship game. We had a pretty good offense. Defense wasn't really all that great in 2012, but the offense was decent and had Dirk Koetter at the helm. You want to try to tell me, well, JR, talent was definitely the reason why. Well, where at? I mean, you had Roddy White and Julio Jones, and you had the great Tony Gonzalez, and who can forget Michael Turner, right? That was your main offensive nucleus with Matt Ryan. Now, that isn't that much different than what we got now. Obviously, we still have Julio Jones, and you have Calvin Ridley, who my partner just did a real good video on, his potential emergence in this upcoming season. You have, now you have Todd Gurley, which has got to be comparable to Michael Turner, right? So I don't see, the only thing you're really missing is a proven Tony Gonzalez. And Hayden Hurst is at least more athletic than Gonzalez. He definitely doesn't have the experience, but you know, he could have the production. So that got me to really look at what is the difference? What would be the difference? I think the difference may be, and could quite possibly be, the offensive line. And as you could tell by the thumbnail and stuff of that nature, that's what really got my brain thinking and got my brain working. How did that offensive line in 2012 look under Dirk Koetter? Well, you had Todd McClure as the center, and you had Tyson Clabo and Justin Blaylock, and rookie Peter Collins. We all know how that turned out. And you didn't really have like a ton of like big names, I guess you could say, but what you did have was a lot of experience, especially from Todd McClure and Justin Blaylock. I mean, those guys alone had a ton of experience. So that got me to looking at the 2012 offensive line versus the 2019 offensive line. And man, did I find some staggering stuff. Now, we're going to show you some plays here in just a few minutes, but I want to go over some stuff real quick first. Back in 2012, according to Football Outsiders, our pass protection, our pass pro, was ranked 8th in the league. That's pretty good. Anytime you can get any unit in the top 10, I feel like you're doing something real well there. In comparison, the 2019 was ranked 13th. I think that's being a little generous myself, but I can only go by what their stats say. I'm not going to manipulate the numbers and try to make it say something I wanted to say. So, but the difference there is that you gave up 28 sacks in 2012, and you gave up 50 sacks in 2019. You had a 6.6%, 6.6% sack rate in 2019. That's not good, man. And the other thing that really floored me, like super floored me, was the quarterback hits. In 2012, you gave up 83 quarterback hits. 83. That's all season. I don't know how that compares to the rest of the averages and all this other stuff. I'm just giving you the numbers that I was able to dig up last night. But in 2019, you gave up 136 hits. That's what, only about almost 20 some odd hits away from doubling it. So that's crazy, the amount of QB hits that we gave up in 2019. I mean, if you want to know really why your offensive line was looking and your play calling was looking as suspect as it did, I mean, the offensive line is one of the things that you can truly point at, right? As to why the offense looked as vanilla as it did. Now, this first clip I'm going to show you is something that I want you to look at here. Sorry. It's simple little screen pass that we all hate, right? Dirk Koetter runs those screen passes like crazy. It's out of a 11 personnel formation, and it's a screen pass that goes to Julio Jones. And as you can see during this play, the center and the guard are able to get out and make those blocks. They hold their blocks just long enough and are able to disengage and get out and make those blocks and really spring Julio Jones to get into the end zone. So, I mean, that right there, that wide receiver screen and those type of plays are Dirk Koetter's, that's his run game. That's always been his type of run game. Okay? So, I'm going to show it to you one more time here, and I want you to really take a look at it. It's the guard and the center. It's the left guard and the center that really are able to get out and make the blocks that allow Julio Jones to get into the end zone. Now, you can see that kind of play design just wasn't really going to work with the inexperience that we had on the offensive line in 2019. It's just as simple as that. So, this year in 2020, your right guard and your right tackle are going to now have a season under their belt. Hopefully, whoever wins out on the left guard battle, whether it be Jamon Brown or James Carpenter, hopefully they have a bounce back season and are fully settled in. And then maybe we can get some decent, solid play. Now, this next clip I want to show you is of a run, okay? We always talk about how Dirk Koetter's not very creative or anything like that, but as this clip starts, we're in 21 personnel here. And as you can see, it's a play fake pass to run. All right. So the fake buys the time for the guards to leak out up to the second level and seal off and get Turner a nice lane for him to run through. So now you imagine that, speed forward, you imagine that with Todd Gurley with a little bit more burst than the burner Turner had at that point in time. That play could go for a good chunk. I want to show it to you one more time. Really pay attention to the offensive line on this, okay? Because when Matt Ryan fakes the pass and then hands it off, that buys them just a little bit of time to get out and really open up the holes that you're looking for. So if they can start incorporating, if this offensive line can come together and really start incorporating some of these plays, I really think the offense can get clicking again. All right. So now that was from 2012. Obviously, it was just from the Kansas City game. I'm not going to sit here and try to load y'all down with a whole bunch of clips, but I just wanted to highlight some of the stuff from that offensive line play versus the offensive line play that we had in 2019. All right. So this play from 2019 is a play for just a delayed handoff for Freeman out of an 11 personnel. You see a pattern here. Dirk Koetter runs that 11 personnel quite a bit, and he's running, some decent plays out of it, right? So it's 11 personnel with a delayed handoff to Freeman. It's a nice play for the rookies, giving them a chance to, really build a wall. So I specifically picked this play. This is in the latter half of the season. I wanted to show y'all what we may have a chance to look forward to with McGary and Lindstrom on the second, on the right side of the line. Anyway, so back to the play. I'm gonna run it again here. The rookies wall off real well and seal off their side and build a wall against their guys. Mack, who being the smart player that he is and the experience that I think will really help, he allows him to get up and get his second block after helping Wes Schweitzer. Now Schweitzer was your weak point in that junction on the left guard there. He's no longer with the team. We'll see how that ends up doing us. But anyway, Mack initially helps Schweitzer, and then the delay allows him to get up into the second level and wall off and create a nice little run for Freeman. I really hope to see more plays like that with McGary and Lindstrom getting that experience, right? And building on that kind of stuff. It's what I'm really looking forward to be completely honest with you. All right, now on to this next play. I can't just show you all good. When I talk about the experience being what I think will ultimately elevate this offensive line, here's an example of not having a ton of experience, right? In this clip right here, you have the Carolina Panthers are running a twist, right? And which works because Gano doesn't set back far enough. If he were to set back along the same level with Alex Mack, Mack could pass off his guy to Gano, and then Mack could block the incoming guy. But Gano, not having the experience needed, he steps up, and when he steps up, it allows one guy to take out Mack and Gano, which allows the end to come around and get pressure all up in Matt Ryan's face, and which allowed the pass to sail a little bit and not make the connection needed. But had it been a little bit more experience there, maybe had Gano seen that more than once, he would have known to set back, and that play was a nice design play. Gage, I believe it was wide open for it. But that's just what I'm talking about. That's the experience that our offensive line was lacking last year. You knew that going in. Even had that not been Gano, even if had that been Lindstrom, he still might have been fooled on that. I'm not sure how often at Boston College did Lindstrom see, tackle in twists like that. It'd be interesting to see what this year looks like with more experience under the belt. Now, I know we got all this delayed off-season stuff going on, and that could hamper things, and hopefully it won't put too much of a damper on our guys' development. But on this next clip, I got two more clips for y'all. But on this next clip, this is from the Tampa Bay game. Like I said, I purposely picked games from the latter half of the season to hopefully show a bright future ahead. Is kind of what I was going for. Yeah, I could have showed you a whole bunch of bad plays from the first half. Like I stated earlier, we did give up 50 daggum sacks and 136 quarterback hits. So there's plenty of bad plays out there. But what I was trying to illustrate is what the future could look like and how we could return to form under Dirk Koetter. So clip 5, again, we're in 11 personnel. You're seeing a trend here. Dirk Koetter really likes that 11 personnel, but he can run a lot of different things out of it, so I can see why. When the plays snapped off, they give Ryan a real good lane to step up in. And that's what I like to see. This allows for Julio Jones to come across in a deep slant and to get a nice gain, right? This game right here really gives you a sense of what Kaleb McGary and Chris Lindstrom can bring to the table. And the reason why I picked this game out, not just because we won, not just, I mean, it was a close game and it wasn't very pretty, but you were up against a real harsh defensive line with Ndamukong Suh, Vita Vea, Jason Pierre-Paul, you had Shaquille Barrett. I mean, this was a fire-breathing defensive line that they had to go up against. Last and final clip. Okay, Tampa Bay, oddly enough, dropped Suh into coverage. I know it's probably just trying to confuse Ryan on what he was looking at here. But either way, when they dropped Suh into coverage, they overloaded the right side of the line, bringing in both linebackers from the left side of the camera. So it was the right side. No, it was the left side. It was the left side of the offensive line. Sorry. My apologies on that one. Anyway, so they overloaded the left side of the offensive line, bringing in linebackers, bringing in, you know, both defensive tackle and defensive end over there. They dropped Suh into coverage and left McGary on an island with Vita Vea, which he does real well against and gives Ryan plenty of time to find Julio Jones on a shallow cross behind Suh. So, again, this play not perfectly, but it illustrates quite a bit what the future might bring, right? You had the Saints game where McGary played real well, the first Saints game in New Orleans. But the second Saints game, he didn't do so well. He still has ups and downs. But we knew that going in, that it was going to be a struggle with him. But he seemed to calm down quite a bit when Lindstrom got back in the lineup, okay? Which is encouraging to see. You know, Lindstrom definitely looks like the real deal, and I expect a big leap from both of them. But one of the other areas that they have, you know, got to get cleaned up, in my opinion, much more than just about anything else, really, is the penalties. That was another thing that I noticed when I was rewatching these games. That made it seem like we were just getting penalties left and right. So I went and looked it up. In 2019, okay, last year you had 28 offensive holding penalties. 28. In comparison to the 9 you had in 2012. That's a big difference right there. I mean, that's a difference of 261 yards lost versus 85 yards lost. Not to really talk about just the yards, but like those are drive killers. Those are momentum killers. You know, I couldn't find breakdowns of where they happened at on the field, but I mean, if that happens in the red zone, that's a game changer, right? The false start penalties. In 2012, you had 11 false starts. In 2019, you had 22 false starts. That's unacceptable. I mean, big time unacceptable, right? I mean, you had almost 50 some odd penalties on the offensive line last year. That's a little much, you know? Now, the one thing I did notice, and y'all should smile with this one, not in a good way, but the run stuffing was about the same. And what I mean by that is you had 23% of your runs were stuffed in 2012. And in 2019, 21% of your runs were stuffed. That means they were stopped at the line or behind the line of scrimmage. So that right there tells me that Dirk Koetter's runs are what they are. Okay? So what we need to get this offensive line or this offense going is this offensive line to solidify and gel and give Matt Ryan the time that he needs to be able to work the field. Like, that's the difference. Same thing happened in 2016. Our runs were decent. They weren't great. They were decent enough, but where we killed people was our offensive line held up and gave Matt Ryan time. That's why he was able to do things like throw to 13 different receivers for touchdowns. Something that's never been done in the NFL history. That's where we got the sentiment that we could use Devontae Freeman and Tevin Coleman out of the backfield in a crazy tandem because Matt Ryan had time to find them on wheel routes and things like that. The offensive line is the backbone of this offense. It is the engine that drives this offense. I don't care how many Julio Joneses you got out there. I don't care how many Todd Gurley's you got out in the backfield. If there are holes being opened up, and if Matt Ryan's not given time to be able to throw the daggone ball, you're not going to have much success. So I think, honestly, the antithesis this season, the thing that I am looking for the most is the offensive line to come together quickly and gel. That's what we need to see. We need to see Chris Lindstrom and Kaleb McGary making steps forward. We need the best possible left guard to be in place. I don't need any more of this shifting back and forth between James Carpenter and Jamon Brown. If that's who you're going with, I'd much rather have Jamon Brown. Put him in place, and hopefully he won't give up as many penalties as he did last year. That's the thing that I think killed the coaching staff on Jamon Brown, and why they kept putting James Carpenter in place for Jamon Brown, even though Carpenter wasn't as effective. It's because Carpenter wasn't getting penalized nearly as much. So I really hope Jamon Brown can get that under control and solidify that left guard spot. Because if we solidify this O-line, I think very much this offense will be fine. I don't think it'll be 2016 fine, but I don't think you're ever going to see 2016 fine again. But we could see 2012 fine. And 2012 fine took us to the NFC Championship with a porous Mike Smith-led defense. Now, if we can just figure out how to score in the second half, which Dirk Koetter wasn't very good at in 2012, we'll hopefully sing this joker all the way to the Super Bowl. But that's what I got for you. And like I said, I really hope that y'all join me Thursday evening for my live stream of the draft on the first round. I think it'll be a lot of fun. At least we can chat and joke and cut up and see what our team gets into. But anyway, you can find me on Twitter at Grimm1128, GRIMM1128, and Toby D is at TobyD1991. Hit us up, ask us questions, interact with us. We'd love to engage with y'all for sure. And as always, Falcons fans, rise up.